Hi, welcome back to another video from Crafted Terrain. My name's Lee and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this lava pool terrain. I'm going to be using some really basic crafting materials and hopefully this should be a nice and simple, quick, cheap project that has a very cool finish to it. Okay, let's get into the video. So to make our lava pools, our area terrain, we're going to need one of our bases, and here's one that's already done and beveled. Check out one of the previous videos in the series to see how we're doing that. And then we've got some sculptor mould. This stuff, I don't know, it looks like sawdust. And you're going to put this into a bucket and you mix it with water basically. Don't mix too much because this is very fast. It dries very, very fast. Mix some water in. And then you're looking to get a consistency that is something like sandwich filler. I've used this in previous videos. It's great stuff. You can pick it up nice and cheap if you just search for sculptor mould. If you just look at that, there, a little bit more water to that. Like so. That's looking great. Okay. And then all we're going to do is create a rim to the base, and that's going to hold our lava pool in place. So just push this out, spread it with your finger, like so, to the height that you want. You don't really need much height because we don't need the pool to be too deep. So just push it, mould it, like so, until you've completed the circle and there's no gaps. And that's going to create the banks to your lava pool. Okay, I'll get that done. We'll come back and show you how it looks. Okay, so for the next stage now, that's almost dry. It's not fully dry, but it's dry enough to continue working on. We're going to need some PVA glue, a spoon, our ground cover, and a brush. And basically what we're going to look to do is cover all of this here with the ground cover. So just take your PVA glue. I have put some parchment paper down that will catch any of the excess that falls off, and then just brush this on everywhere that you want the ground cover to stick to, working right up to the edges here, like so. A couple of options: you can sprinkle the ground cover, you can use a spoon, you can just pour it, but it gets very messy, and obviously I don't want to waste any, so I find a spoon works well. This is basically just a mixture of a couple of different sands and then some cork to add the bigger rocks in, like so. And then we're just going to look to tip this over the top. So and then when you shake it off, you'll be left and that'll just be covered. And then once that's sprayed and painted and dry brushed, you'll have your ground cover complete. So I'm going to go around, just get all the rest of that done. Then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, with that all dry, now what we're going to look to do is you can shake off any of the excess bits now, and then we're going to wet work in. So take your PVA, it's like 10 parts water, like 1 part PVA, roughly, in a spray bottle, and we're just going to spray that onto the piece, covering all the sand areas where we've placed our ground cover. This way, that's going to help lock it in place even more, and then I'll just let this dry for a few hours, and then almost ready for painting. Okay, so I was looking at the lava pools and I just wanted to add a little bit of extra detail, something for the eye to look at. So what I was thinking was, once all this is orange and red and stuff, it would be nice to have some of the rocky bits in the actual lava pool. So I'm just going to take my hot glue, put a little bead in the middle, and then just push these rocks into place, sort of around the edges. And then when you paint this up, you'll be able to make it dark around these rocks. It'll look like the lava's cooling and hopefully give that natural sort of look. Okay, so that'll hold them in place like so. And then also I was thinking like lava bubbles. So I've got my parchment paper and we're just going to drop some beads of hot glue in various sizes just onto the parchment paper. like so. And then when these dry, they should dry like bubbles. They'll have a flat side that we can push down, and then the dome side will create the bubble effect, which we can paint. I'll let them dry, and then we'll come back and I'll show you me putting them into the actual lava pools. Okay, so with them locked in place, now the next step is to fill all this in with hot glue. So basically I bought 100 sticks of hot glue off eBay. It was real cheap, but you can tell it's real cheap from the way it's coming out of the gun. But it will do for this basically, because it's not responsible for holding anything in place. It's just the lava basically. And as you can see, as we move around, it starts to flatten out, giving us that quite natural lava look. Just go all the way around the rocks. You just want a thin layer, because then once it's fully dry, we're going to come back in and put a second layer in place. That'll give us like the ripples that you get on the top of the lava, and when we're painting, it will give us some detail to actually work with and paint. So just fill in all the gaps on your first layer, especially around the rocks, like so. Then if you have got your bubbles, they should look something like this. Now you can just drop them on top of this, just give them a little tap, and that'll give you that bubble sort of look into the rocks. If you take a look at this one, this is the one I've gone all the way around with. You can see your bubbles here, and then I'm just going to, once that's fully dry, I'm just going to put some more texture on the top. So the lava pools have been sprayed, first with this matte black, nice and cheap can, ½ litre, £6, I think from Amazon, and then this grey over the top, just to give it a little bit more detail and like a zenithal. And then to add a tiny bit more detail, we're just going to dry brush over the tops of the sand like so, just to make that stand out a little bit more like so. And you can take this to whatever level you want to. You can go one coat higher than this, lighter if you wish, just to make it a little bit brighter, but you know, this is going to be fine for the table that I'm looking to use it on. Okay, so now what we're looking to do is cover all the lava, not the rocks, paint up to the rocks red. Okay, we're not going to wet blend yet, we need to cover this black. So we're just going to apply a coat of red. As you can see, it's quite transparent. So just get a good covering, let that dry, and then when we put the second layer on, that will help cover the black, and then we can do our wet blending. Get nice up to the edges. Doesn't matter if you go a little bit onto the rocks, because when we drop in some of the like lighting effects, that'll help with the glow onto the rocks. Okay, so just get this on, give it a good covering, and then just let it fully dry. Okay, so now we're going to start painting it up. I've got reds, I've got red and orange, all nice cheap craft paints. These are the same ones I've used on the volcanic rocks and stuff. I've got a white and a black. We're going to start off by just painting again now the red, so it's wet, so we can work with it and blend. Okay, so go around, just get all this red wet again, basically with fresh paint, because then we're going to move to the orange and start to blend that. And then we're going to work our way gradually into the yellow and a nice bright colour on top of these higher levels where we've left the bubbles and the lava streaks and stuff like that. Okay, straight now we're going to grab our orange and we're just going to start to paint that into the gaps, leaving some red closer to the edges. Again, I'm not trying to be too neat, covering all the higher areas like where the bubbles are with the thick orange, but leaving the red closer to the edges. Just get this on for now, and then we can come back and be more precise and get a neater finish. Okay, now I'm going to move down to one of the smaller brushes and start to bring the yellow in. Just blending, mixing this on the top, creating that flow basically. So imagine this lava's moving around and swirling around the pool. Then I'm just going to leave this first layer to dry. If you get it on any of the rocks, just give it a wipe off. Then with it dry, I'm going to come with a yellowy orangey mix and just again onto the top pieces and into the more of the middle bits of the flow. Again, I'm not being too neat, it doesn't really matter, and I'm not worried if I go where I shouldn't too much, it'll all blend together in the end. So you can sort of get that feel of that lava moving around and where's hot and where's the cooler parts just by the colouring. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry now. You can see I've got some on the rock there. That's the bits where you don't want it to go. I'm just going to try and just clear that off with a bit of a wet brush and a bit of tissue paper, and then just dab that off like so. That looks okay. Let's let that dry and then we'll come back to one final layer. So for the final one, I've just got some yellow, and we're just going to put yellow over the highest bits, water it down a little bit so it flows. Okay, just let that dry, then we'll come back in. Oh, okay, just missing something there that I wanted to add some to, where I had a little bit of hot glue that had gone up onto the side. I just wanted to add a bit of colour like so. Okay, yes, you can let that dry now, and then we're just going to come back and do the final touches. Okay, 3 final touches. First, we're going to add a little black to the edges where the lava's cooling. Look around these sides here, just stick and stipple the black close to the edges and try not to get it onto the yellow. Like so, and then we're going to add a touch of dry brush of red to the tops of this here, just to create some glow and lighting effect, just the very tops around the top of the ground coverings that we've got on. We just need to let that dry. Okay, so we're just going to add some gloss now. So once it's all dried, it doesn't look as good as when it's wet. So this is a gloss varnish, not cheap. This one was £5. It's half a litre. Don't use it on your miniatures. It's not that sort of varnish. It's a very thick gloss varnish, so it'll dry shiny. This with a damp brush now, just brush it over all of the lava basically till you cover all of the piece. Try to avoid where we've added the black around the edges, because that would be the bits that have cooled down, wouldn't be as wet looking and shiny. Don't get it up onto the rocks, but this will dry clear, so don't worry. Don't panic if it's looking white. You haven't ruined the piece. Just trust the process. Let that dry, show you how it looks. Okay, so that's nearly 100% dry now, just a little bit there. You can see it's got that nice shine, that wet look. Let's throw this down on the table and see how it looks. Okay, so that completes our video on the lava pool terrain. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. As I said, hopefully that was simple enough for people that are beginners, but still's got a very nice finish for anybody out there that's got a bit more experience making terrain and things like that. If you have enjoyed the video, remember to subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a comment, and consider checking out our Patreon and helping the channel out in that way. Okay, everybody, stay safe and we'll see you soon.